Alright, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video of the fantasy RPG, medieval, whatever, combat RPG tutorial series. I always forget to check if stuff is replicating, so let's start. Actually, we are playing as a server, so it's probably, I know most stuff is replicating at least. So yeah, the AI seems to be replicating, so that's good. Very nice. I always forget to check that. So we are currently working with our AI, as you can see. There's some bugs going on there, so we'll switch that up sometime. Bam. It looked as if it took a lot of damage. I'm just gonna see if, yeah, fuck it. We'll figure out bugs later. I'll do a catch-up video. I thought I saw two bugs there. So we have a bug with the pickup animation when we are stopping, because we're trying to do two animations, and I think from the server maybe we do too much damage. So yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna clean that up in another video. We're just gonna settle the AI first. So let's make the AI chase the player. Maybe? Yeah, let's do that. So if we go into our master AI, we're gonna need a new function. This is my favorite function. I do it all the time in all my projects. If you follow other tutorials that I've done, you've seen this before. Find closest player. Maybe there's even notes for that. Find closest player. I'm just gonna copy it from my other project because I happen to have it open. But I'll walk you through it. So create two float variables. One called closest player distance and one called furthest player distance. This is just my way of doing it. You don't even need that. The furthest player is just because in my other project, I'm a big fan of basic things and not complicating AI and things. And you can actually oftenly you can make very basic AI seem more complex than it is. So basically, the way I set it up is I target either the closest player or the furthest player depending on what AI it is. So archers sometimes attack the furthest players away, and I have these tiny dog creatures that always attack the furthest player from them when they switch targets. So that if you have a tank player and a ranged player, the ranged player get attacked as well. And then obviously the closest player. And in between it's random because you're gonna be when you're playing with your friends and stuff, you're gonna be moving around all the time anyway. So you don't really, even if you have 4 people, it's the two middle ones don't really. It's gonna interchange so much, so it doesn't really matter. So 2 variables. We start by setting the closest player distance and the furthest player distance. So this is basically the max. This is the max amount that you search for closest player. 50,000 whatever units is, and the furthest player has to be at least 100 away. And then we get all actors of class. That's gonna be player third person character. So just to get all actors of class, and then we do a why is that creating an error? It's because this doesn't match. So for each loop, so yeah, for each loop, and then we are casting it. And yeah, so we need to create this variable closest player as well, but let's not do that yet. Okay, I'm just gonna set up the rest. So we are searching for player third person characters here. So what we want to do is we want to, for each of them, get distance 2, and the other is going to be self. So we're looking for the distance between ourself and the AI self, and all the player third person characters. And if that distance is less, so just drag from the end, less than closest player distance, which is this one. So if the distance is less than 50,000, you're gonna set, if that's true, we are gonna set the closest player distance to this new distance, and then we're gonna keep doing that for all of them. So that means that in the end the closest player will be the one that are done. So basically we're gonna set, we need to create this variable, and it's gonna be player third person character. I'm changing the variable type, but you can obviously just create the variable player third person character. It's gonna be set when it's true. And if it's false, we wanna also create the furthest player, which is the same. So you can just copy your variable. So now we have two variables, or four, but we have the closest and furthest player. So basically, if it's true, but if it's true, we set the closest player. But if it's false, it means the AI is further away from the closest player. So that means we check against the furthest player distance. So this branch is the second branch from the false is the furthest player distance if it's greater. So if the first one we do is 400 units away, the next time we check for the second one in the array, we're gonna check if that one is further away than, for instance, 400, we're gonna set that further player distance again instead. And then the next one might be 600 away, and then yeah, so you see. So in the end, the furthest one away will be the furthest player. So this is just a function to set the furthest and closest player. And that's gonna be another behavior that we're doing. So if we go into our enums and struct, AI behavior, targets closest player, it's another boolean. So this is a cheating way of doing an AI that seems to be smarter than it is, basically. So our troll in the behavior, we want him to target the closest player, and the master AI in the details, we're gonna do the targets closest player as the default. So there we go. So basically, in our master AI, now we need a way to like discover our player. There are lots of ways to do this. One is to use like pawn sensing, which is fine. I'm just gonna create my own system. Basically what you could do, there are lots of tutorials on, like, you could do pawn sensing, and you can do AI perception, so you can do like the engine's internal stuff. For some reason I don't like them. I'm not gonna say they are bad, because they are probably better than what I do, but I just don't like them. I feel like I don't know how they work under the hood and everything, so I just prefer to set up my own basic thing instead, because I like it. So we're gonna do a function. Can be a function called look for player. So it's gonna be a function called look for player, and in this look for player we are gonna search for the closest player. So, and if the closest player get distance to, if the closest player self, if the closest player's distance is less than a certain value, that means we are in range to target that player. So this is another behavior. So we're gonna get our enemy details, we are gonna break our enemy details, we are gonna break the behavior details, and then we are gonna set up the variable for this. In our behavior details, we're gonna be doing site C player distance. C player distance. That's it. And that's gonna be a float. Right. So, and we're gonna add stuff to this later. From now in the beginning, he's gonna see behind his back as well, but we're gonna fix stuff like that later. But you can see we got this C player distance. So if the closest player distance is less than the C player distance, then we're gonna target the player. And we need to set up the defaults. Let's do 1000. And let's just print string. So let's not do anything with it, or we're gonna do it, but let's just see if it works. So there are a couple of ways to do this. I'm gonna do set timer by function name, and the reason I'm doing this is we can also so we have this look for player function, look for player. It's going to be a looping function that loops every second. So every 1 second he's checking if a player is close. You could do half second as well or something like that. So this is, it's not hard on performance to check a thing every second. It doesn't really affect at all. So let's just see. Yeah, sorry, the other player was super close. So this one, let's move away. And you can see they don't see the player. Okay, he came close. He's coming close. And now he sees the player. You can see, now he's walking away. And he doesn't see the player anymore. So, that's working. But what are we gonna do now? So let's do a new graph called combat graph. So in this graph, we're gonna do a function custom, or we're gonna do a custom event called event initiate combat. Bum, 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 bum. And we initiate combat by pause timer by function name. So we start by pausing this timer, so we stop looking for the player because we already found the player. Then we're gonna AI move to. The pawn is gonna be self. So the self, the pawn that's moving is gonna be self. The target actor is gonna be the closest player. Or is it? We're gonna do a branch. So yeah, exactly. So we're gonna do a branch, and we are gonna get the details. We are gonna break the details. And we're gonna get the behavior details. And here we have this target's closest player. If that's true, the destination is gonna be the closest player. If it's false, the destination is gonna be the furthest player. So even maybe you just see the closest player, but you're still gonna chase after the furthest player. That's what my doggy dogs do. Not sure we need the destination. I think it's fine with target actor. Otherwise we'll just get the location from here, but we'll start by this. Doing this. AI move to. We also need to set up behavior, start roaming. We don't have AI move to. Why am I doing this like this? Let's just do like this instead. Why am I not using a function here? We're just gonna delete this. We are gonna collapse this to a function. Why? Okay, let's not collapse it to a function then. delays don't work in function, but we shouldn't need a delay here. Okay, AI move to doesn't work in a function. I knew that. So let's not delete this. Let's use this. You could obviously do it as a timer as well, but this is fine. We can just do it like this. And so basically this is repeating, as you can see. Let's just do a let's do a variable, call it has target. Boop. So he's only gonna roam if he doesn't have a target. And when we go to our combat, when we initiate combat, we are gonna set has target to true. So he's gonna stop roaming. And that's the master AI. And you can see, does he stop roaming? He does not stop roaming. I'm just gonna do one for now, just because I get confused. He sees player has target. That means we should stop roaming. We can delete this function. Start roaming. Pum pum pum. Has target is false. And we're just gonna move him away, just so I don't confuse myself with that one, and we're gonna focus on this one. He sees the player, but he doesn't chase the player. So why is that? We're just gonna close some things that are confusing me. Okay, so we know that he sees the player, and we know, so look for player is active, and it's printing the string, so we know that we have a closer player. So yeah, obviously we need to actually initiate the combat as well. That's why. So as usual, I'm like completely forgetting things. Event initiate combat. It's really a stupid mistake. It's very easy. There we go. And now he stopped roaming. Okay, so that was a stupid mistake. And you can see that he is now following us. So that's good. Perfect. Oops, I'm just gonna check. So, and we also want to get rid of the snapping. I always forget how to do that, but I think it's, I mess around. I think it's disable this one. So select the master AI, disable use control rotation yaw in your character, orient rotation to movement on the character movement. I think that's it. Yeah, there we go. So now he's rotating smoothly instead of snapping. So that's a lot better. So he is chasing us. We are at 24 minutes. And lastly, let's set up an attack. We're not gonna do the damage now. And you can see when he reached us, he stopped. So let's also set up an attack. prefabs. Sorry, where is it? Infinity blades, adversaries, enemies, poison troll, enemy troll. Ah, no, sorry, I moved this. So actually we have this aggro, so maybe we should play this before. Yeah, we're gonna do that just because it looks cool. So we are gonna right click, create a montage, and then we have an attack. This is actually quite good animations, to be honest. We can do quite a nice anime with this ones. They are well telegraphed and things like that as well. A vomit attack. I like this guy. So yeah, we can do a lot with this one. Completely right choice. So we're just gonna start with the basic attack. It's this one. It's the most ugly of them all, so maybe this one is cooler. Oh. We can do different ones, so we're just gonna start with this one. We're gonna enable root motion. I think, yeah, it doesn't really matter in this one, to be honest, but because he's not moving anyway, but let's do it. So create any montage. Perfect. So we have an attack and we have the aggro one. In our master AI, let's go into our, we have a functions graph here with the health bar. I'm just gonna comment that up. And let's do a custom event. Actually, maybe we should do attacks. Maybe we should just pause it here and do it in the next video. Ah, let's do it here. Might as well. Custom event. AI, when it comes to, maybe we need a server anyway. Okay, yeah. So do two custom events. Server play montage. This is gonna be the same as on our player, and it's gonna be MC play montage. The MC one is gonna be multicast reliable, and this one is gonna be run a server and reliable. Just because I like reliable, you don't need to use them as reliable. You have to test yourself. I use reliable usually because it works. But I think I've said this before, but what reliable does, it forces it to all the clients. So even if you're on the other side of the map, your client will still know that this attack is happening or this montage is happening, which isn't necessarily good. I do it because in my games it's usually like tight controlled spaces, so I do like small co-op games. So reliable or not, it's pretty much always reliable the way I do it anyway. So play montage. Yeah, play any montage. This is gonna be MC play montage, and the montage we're gonna be passing through. Perfect. Play montage. Disable the comment. Something like that. Perfect. So in our combat graph, obviously the first thing we're gonna need to do is the aggro animation. So if we go to prefabs, AI, enums and struct, we have the behaviors. Or maybe we should do it in the attack details. Let's do it in the attack details. So in the attack details, we're gonna have number max attacks, which is gonna be a float or an integer, it's fine. So that's gonna be the amount of different attacks we have in this specific AI. Do we wanna do different temp? I'm just gonna do for this now. We might do a different structure for each attack, to be honest, but for now let's just do this. Anim montage, and this is gonna be the aggro montage, and then we're gonna do attack 01 montage. So that's it for now. So basically when we reach on success, we're gonna do MC. So this, I'm not entirely sure, but okay, this is how it goes. The AI is always running on the server, so we don't need to call the server plane montage. We can just do the MC montage directly when we execute logic straightly from our master AI. So that's why I don't do the server montage here. I still made the server play montage first. The reason for that is when we call it from another character, I feel like it's sometimes bugging out when I'm not calling. So basically if I want to tell the AI to play a montage from another character, from our player character for instance, I usually call the server play montage because I feel like it's bugging out if I call the MC straight from another character, even though the AI is running on the server. But in this case, it's gonna be fine. So MC play montage, and we are gonna get our also here MC play montage, and we are gonna break the attack details, and first we're gonna play the attack aggro montage, and then we are gonna play the attack. When we reach, we are gonna play the attack montage. And when we have played the attack montage, we are not gonna initiate combat. We are gonna custom event reset AI. Actually, reset AI is probably gonna be go back to roaming. So event restart combat. I need to sneeze. 1 second. Wow. Really cool that I actually managed to pause the video there. I'm a little bit cold, so event restart combat. It's gonna initiate after doing our attack. Let's also do like this. In the MC play montage, promote this return variable, promote it to animation delay. And in the combat, after we have done our attacks, we're gonna do a delay, which is gonna be the animation delay, but minus like let's just do animation delay for now. You can do minus like a millisecond or something. And event restart combat. So that means it's looping now. He's gonna loop and he's gonna hunt and attack the player. But first, in our troll enemy, we need to also set up the enemy details. We're gonna hide all these variables somehow later. So in the attack details, we have the first we have the aggro montage. Set that in here. Max attack is not, we don't need that for now. We're gonna do it later for the combos, things like that. And we're just gonna set up this basic one attack for now. So he's chasing, he's not attacking, but he is keeping the chase going. So that's something. Sometimes it's just that you need to save everything again. I know why. So in the blueprint here, we need to, because he can't play the montage because he needs a default slot, because that's where the montages are happening. So if you go into the montage, you can see the slot group. We have this default group, default slot here. And if that slot isn't added to the blueprint, you can't play the animation. So we should do this in the master AI as well. There comes the aggro shout, and now he's chasing the player, and he is attacking. Bam. So you can see he's approaching the player very, very closely. That's why we're gonna set up different variables for different attacks, because different attacks gonna have different reach. So we are probably actually gonna do different structures for different attacks, but that's gonna be the next video. You have the basic stuff set up here. So because you have this acceptance radius, if we increase this, let's do 200, he's gonna attack from a longer range, you can see, because he's accepting. Now he's hunting us and he's attacking. He doesn't have a weapon. We're gonna give him a weapon as well. And there are plenty of stuff that we can actually add to this to make him really good, but you can see we're getting somewhere with the AI, so that's really nice. So that's gonna be it for this video. See you in the next one.